Hi everyone, it is Wendy L. Curry, founder of Wedded Wonderland and Wonderland Media. I am here to talk to you today about the impact of coronavirus on the wedding market, both locally and abroad. There are a few considerations that I want to talk through, and this is important for those who are planning their wedding, so couples who are looking at local and destination weddings in conjunction with businesses who are being impacted by the impact of this global virus. So as a starting point, we put up a post yesterday and we had a number of businesses and couples reach out to us and advise us of what's going on. We were having cancellations for destination weddings. There are people who are reconsidering their honeymoon options. And then from a local perspective, there are businesses who can't access products. So three big talking points that I want to focus on today is one, local weddings and what the implications of that will be. And I'm specifically referring to local weddings in Australia, but obviously this is relevant for local weddings all around the world. I'm going to touch on the destination wedding component, and obviously coming back from Engage recently in Dubai, what wedding planners were saying there in conjunction with what we're being told by venues, by wedding planners, by dress designers, photographers and more. And then the other talking point obviously is the honeymoon component, and so many people who tend to book Europe for their honeymoon, and Asia, and what other opportunities there are in regards to that. So I'm hoping that today's video gives you a bit of an understanding in terms of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats that exist within what is occurring in the wedding market. And I always like to do a bit of a SWOT analysis when scenarios like this do come up, particularly from a business perspective, because regardless of what any of us say, life as we know it will go on, and we need to have contingency plans in place right now, so we don't, put ourselves and our businesses at risk. The most important thing at the moment is obviously the health and well-being and safety of our friends and of our family. And we completely understand as an industry that there are people out there that just don't want to take the risk right now in terms of bringing their family together, particularly when it comes to a destination wedding. So talking point one, the wedding industry internationally, abroad, globally, has never really been impacted by an economic crisis. We are generally considered a market that is non-cyclical, which basically means that even if there is a recession taking place, or there's a downward in spend, and economically the industries or the economy isn't doing so well, people will find a way to get married, and they will maybe cut costs on certain things and budget a little bit more conservatively, but they still will get married. We are now in a predicament where the idea of bringing people together can implicate or put certain people at risk, particularly when it comes to the way that this virus spreads. Now, in saying that, if you are at work, which is I'm at work at the moment, and you are in public places, it is one of those things that we generally, as a society, and from what the feedback has been, and obviously we're not doctors and we're not surgeons, is that you have to take precautionary measures when it comes to washing your hands, when it comes to, obviously, if you are unwell, staying at home, and for those who have any pre-existing issues when it comes to health and well-being, then obviously, staying clear of anyone who is unwell, and also staying put. So getting people together and celebrating right now is something that is a little riskier than what it once was last year this time. Those who have planned their weddings, obviously, I don't think were sitting around going, hold on a second, let me think about all the risks in planning a destination wedding or a local wedding. Is there going to be a global pandemic? I don't think that's anything that the wedding industry or couples have ever had to prepare for or thought that would be an issue. So if you are planning a destination wedding, I think the most important thing is reach out to all of your suppliers right now, today, and ask the question. If it is before July this year in particular, what the contingency plans are. We understand that Italy is not accepting flights up until April. And so, you know, what will take place and what will eventuate. I would speak to your guests as well, particularly those who are near and dear to you, and ask the question around whether they would consider flying if airports were opened up again. You know, we can't, I guess, determine the unknown, but we definitely need to be asking, and particularly, you know who's in your family and who is traveling for your wedding, whether they're willing and able to go on that journey. If you are looking to postpone your wedding, what does that actually mean? So again, going through your contracts and seeing in terms of deposits, and seeing in terms of payments, and whether the venue, whether the photographer, whatever the case may be, can actually be postponed. Because obviously we know with destination weddings that they tend to take place during the summer months, so June, July, August. And if you were to postpone that wedding, would it be for next summer, or would it be heading towards more of the autumn, winter months internationally? So have a chat with your suppliers, definitely. Now, from a supplier perspective, you should be, don't wait for your client to reach out to you. You should be reaching out to all of your clients and advising what your business's position is in regards to their wedding. So whether you are looking to postpone weddings yourself, whether you are looking for alternate options for your clients, and whether you are looking, you know, if you are a venue, obviously then you can't offer another venue unless you have multiple venue offerings. But anything else in regards to the wedding, whether that wedding can be brought in locally and a destination wedding can take place in fact at home. So we need to be thinking about, as an industry, we need to be thinking about plan B and plan C for our clients. That's super important, because if we don't have backup plans and we can't come up with opportunities where if they do want to proceed with the wedding, what does that actually look like? Then you are basically setting yourself up and putting yourself in a position where you more than likely will be cancelled if the client does not want to proceed with that kind of a wedding for what they've actually booked. So as an industry, we need to be thinking about plan B. Now, speaking of Australia, we have so many incredible places in Australia where a local destination wedding can take place. And I think it's really important. We actually will share an article today in regards to where destination weddings can take place locally. So if a client was to go for plan B and still wanted to proceed with the wedding on that date, won't go internationally, what the opportunities and options are for vineyard weddings, beachside weddings, outdoor weddings in Australia. And I think abroad, we need to be thinking about these things. So whether you are in France, whether you're in the States, whether you're in South America, where can you facilitate your clients' weddings that they still have the same vibe, the same look and feel, and the same idea around their wedding? If they are looking to postpone their wedding, things around of date availability, obviously we are postponing to the unknown, or you know, you can go down the route from a couple perspective of postponing to a date that you feel comfortable with. We know that a lot of weddings are being pushed out to October, September, October this year, which we've been told, hopefully, the coronavirus hopefully will have resolved itself somehow if the vaccine actually comes out, if this plans locally follow through, where we don't end up in a pandemic issue, that we're giving ourselves enough of a buffer. So if you are going to push your wedding out and it is going to take place September, October, is that feasible? From a client perspective, is that feasible from a consumer perspective, and what does that actually look like? So one option, go local and have a local destination wedding if you have planned a wedding abroad. Another option is postponing the wedding abroad. What does that actually look like? Now, we've spoken to a whole series of suppliers who are either moving deposits because this is quite a unique scenario, and a lot of contracts don't actually have a pandemic virus covered in it. So this is working off a case-by-case scenario for those suppliers who can actually move deposits and try and save as much money as possible for their clients. We know that they're doing so, and we hope that as an industry we are looking out for our clients. If we're 1 week out from the wedding and flights are being cancelled, so for example we had somebody contact us whose wedding is meant to be taking place in April in Tuscany. There are certain circumstances around a wedding like that, which unfortunately, when it comes to deposits and when it comes to locking in flowers and locking in stationery and all of those kinds of things, there is spend has actually played out that unfortunately I don't think can be recouped. However, again, speak to your suppliers and see what they can do for you. As a global village, and obviously speaking at Engage recently, I want to let you know that even though the wedding industry seems so vast and so big, from a supplier side, we do know each other. A lot of wedding planners, photographers, venues abroad are all familiar with each other's offerings, and we do have contacts all over the world thanks to social media. And use Wedded Wonderland as a platform where you can actually engage and interact with each other if you don't have those contacts. So if you are a couple from Miami who are looking to plan their destination wedding in Mexico, or in the south of France, or in Italy, and you're feeling a little bit apprehensive about that and you want to go local, and say for example you haven't booked anything as yet, I'm certain that there are a whole series of wedding planners and stylists and venues that can assist you in Mexico if you reach out and you ask, in Miami, if you reach out and you ask those questions. So do not be afraid to ask the current people that you've engaged with about other contacts. And I assure you, from a wedding industry perspective, and I hope that it will come back to you in return. So if you have contacts, if you don't have contacts, if you are looking for contacts, use us, use Wedded Wonderland. We've actually started a Facebook group today. We want anyone who has any questions, any concerns, any queries in regards to their weddings locally and abroad to jump on that page to ask those questions from a supplier perspective, from a consumer perspective. Speak to each other, and hopefully we can collectively build this village online, and that a lot of these questions can be answered for you. So we want to open up a group for this reason, because we know, and reading all the messages of people's concerns about weddings, destination weddings this summer in particular, internationally, we really want to be able to help you guys out, and we want you, if you want to get married right now, to be able to find the right suppliers. If you want to postpone, understand what options are available to you. Now, the third topic that we need to discuss is product and product availability. Over 80% of the wedding industry's products are manufactured in China. This comes down to custom-made products, stationery, linens, wedding dresses, which is a really big talking point. If you have not purchased your wedding dress, if you have not purchased your stationery, for example, I would be looking at suppliers who can either locally source or what is currently available in the market right now. Putting in a request for something from a consumer perspective, I think it's really important that suppliers are transparent in saying that, look, we are currently not receiving our product. This will be available in 3 months as opposed to 6 weeks. This is what our manufacturers are telling us. Transparency and communication will remove anxiety. And I believe that reading up on this coronavirus and hearing, and I don't want to go into the medical side of things, but the fear of the unknown is what is causing the most amount of anxiety and stress and concern in any market. So we, as the wedding industry, 85% of the wedding industry is small business, and over 50% is sole trader, which means that if you reach out to anyone in the wedding market, 85% of the time you will be able to speak directly to the owner or to somebody who is in charge, who can make a very quick decision and a very concise decision, and to have a conversation with you about your plans and hopefully come up with a contingency option for you. It's really important that if you can't get product, if you don't have access to your supplies, you don't freak out your client. And obviously we don't want people going, oh my God, I can't get my dress and I don't know what to do. And, you know, have this uncertainty. I think it's really important to have an option for your client and say, look, you know, we don't know, or we've been told it's going to be 3 months, but these are the options that I have, which are similar to what you were looking for, whether it comes to stationery or supplies or dresses or whatever the case may be. Always have an option for your clients, and I'm sure your clients will appreciate it. And I know that we sit in a market where we are so emotionally invested with our decision making, and what we want, especially if we're spending money, we're paying for it. But we are in a time where I think that, you know, not every single thing that we are looking for or we're after, we're going to get at 100%, but the plan B option may actually work out to be better. And it will remove a lot of that anxiety and a lot of that stress of, you know, can I, will I, when will it come, what is actually happening. So really important that we take a pragmatic approach to the planning of weddings. I think that it's really important that from an industry perspective, we don't go out with the, I don't know what's going on, and that we reflect on our businesses and we have an understanding of how to put in tactical plans that give answers to our clients. Now, in all of this, and in saying all of this, there is somewhat of a opportunity here from a strategic perspective. We will get through this as an industry, and we will, with the support of each other and with assisting each other in, at the end of the day, delivering the wedding that the client is after, whether we're doing it or whether we're passing it on to one of our colleagues or one of our peers locally or internationally. But I do think that, you know, with when it goes up, it must come down, and the other way around. So once we get through this, there will be an increase in the demand for destination weddings, more than there has ever been before. There will be an increase in demands for honeymoon destinations as well. So another big talking point is honeymoons, and the fact that we've had quite a few people say, I don't know whether I should book my honeymoon, should I postpone my honeymoon? You know, I really wanted that, you know, Italian sunset on my honeymoon, but I don't know whether it's going to take place or not. I think if you haven't booked something as yet, don't, or book something locally and look into what options there are internationally, and just, you know, we need to take the advice of the people above us who, you know, are informing us of what traveling into Italy may look like in April, May, June. So I think it's really important that you look at opportunities locally, and again, do not cancel the idea of ever having the honeymoon of your dreams, but you may need to do something for a few days locally and then may need to push out the honeymoon next year in summer, you know, for the duration that you want to go. So we may be in a position right now where we are not facilitating the weddings and the honeymoons of our dreams, but there will be a time where it will come, and it will come hard and fast. So we need to prepare for that as well as an industry. We need to understand that people still want and invest so much time and so much energy and so much money into their wedding and their honeymoon plans. And we definitely don't want to say we don't want to say it's never going to happen. Never say never. Hopefully there will be an opportunity later in the year, or, you know, I may jump on here in a month and say there's a vaccine and it's all good to go. We don't know. But we definitely want to ensure that we plan strategically from a business perspective, that when things start looking better, we are ready for it, and that we understand what our product offering needs to be around that, because there will be a huge increase in demand for destination weddings and a huge increase in demand for destination honeymoons. So really important for us to understand that. Again, I want to mention the Facebook group. Please jump on. It's called Wedded Wonderland Group. Simple. So you guys can jump on and start interacting with each other, start answering each other's questions. Look at all of your options. Look at what having a wedding right now means, not only to you, but to your guests internationally. I think when you're looking at weddings locally, depending on where you are in the world, the risks and implications of having group weddings. In Australia, we still have events taking place, we still have weddings taking place, and people are still feeling quite safe in regards to having their wedding locally. People are handing out sanitizer as bombonera and face masks, and we laugh about it, but we actually received a wedding from Hong Kong just yesterday, which we will share with you guys, where majority of guests were wearing face masks. The wedding did take place. 300 guests were meant to attend, 230 did attend. So people are still getting married and they're still going ahead with it, but they obviously are ensuring that the safety and well-being of their guests is of the most importance. So whether you are getting married locally or abroad, planning your honeymoon, looking for products and services that may or may not be available, think about your plan B. I know that when it comes to the biggest day in your life, you don't want to think about that, but we have to think about it, because we have to think about it when it comes to everything in our lives, including toilet paper. So I think we need to have a plan. If you plan your wedding, and you have planned your wedding and you are meant to be getting married in the next 3 months, you definitely need to seek out the experts. You need to seek out those who you have booked, and you need to ask the question in regards to what does plan B look like. We don't expect our couples to have all of the answers. It's definitely up to us as an industry to come up with options. We have a lot of incredible wedding planners who are very creative and can come up with amazing ideas for you locally. I think when it comes to your honeymoon, if you haven't booked it, definitely look at your options, but it's one of those things that it is a stay tuned topic. Otherwise, book something locally, and especially if you're getting married in the next couple of months, and then look to options for that dream European holiday or that dream Asian holiday that you've always wanted. We need to support each other as an industry. If you have any questions in regards to your wedding and you are struggling with working out what to do, please contact us, send us a DM, jump on this group. We want to be here to support you. We've supported the wedding industry globally for a long time, and this is something that I, as a business owner, am very passionate about. The last thing that I would want to hear is that the wedding is cancelled, we're just not going to go ahead with getting married and we don't know when it's going to take place, and we're just going to leave it as it is. I think that planning is the most crucial component here, and having the wedding of your dreams may turn into the absolute magical wedding of your reality if you have the right people on board and if you have the right support system in place. But first and foremost, health and our well-being as an industry, as consumers, as couples, as those who are in love, as those who are traveling is of the biggest importance, and I can't stress that enough. So thank you so much for tuning in today, and stay safe, take care of each other, and I will see you on the Facebook group. We are ready to rock and roll and to answer all of your questions. Have a wonderful day. Au revoir.